Emotional healing is not about forgetting. It's not about letting go in the simplistic sense that people often suggest. And it's definitely not about suppressing your emotions or pretending everything is fine. True healing is a profound and intimate process, one that very few people genuinely understand. In this video, we're going to unveil the hidden truths about this inner journey, truths that no one seems to talk about. Carl Jung, one of the most influential figures in psychology, once said, "What you resist not only persists, it dominates you. But what you accept transforms you." And that's the foundation of real healing. But how do we actually apply that wisdom in real life? How do we take our pain and, instead of allowing it to destroy us, use it as fuel for our transformation? If you've ever felt stuck in the same emotional loop or tried to just let it go and found that it doesn't work, then this message is for you. Stay with us until the end, because we're going to reveal the most important step in the healing journey, the one that most people overlook entirely. Let's begin with this hard truth. You cannot heal what you refuse to acknowledge. This is the first and most common mistake people make. We deny, suppress, or downplay our pain. Why? Because from an early age, many of us were taught to be strong, to move on quickly, and to get over it. But what we don't face, what we bury in the shadows, continues to control our lives from behind the scenes. Jung referred to this hidden aspect of ourselves as the shadow, that part of the psyche where we store everything we've rejected or denied about ourselves, our anger, our fear, our trauma, our grief. We think that by pushing it down, we're getting rid of it. But in truth, we're only giving it more power. How can you tell if you're denying your pain? You overreact to small things. You avoid thinking about certain memories. You feel a constant emptiness you can't explain. Or you find yourself repeating the same destructive patterns in relationships. Here's the simple yet uncomfortable key. You have to be willing to look within. You must stop distracting yourself with work, social media, or superficial connections. You must stop numbing the discomfort and instead turn inward, even if what you find there isn't pretty. Carl Jung said, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This means that if we don't dig deep to identify the origin of our suffering, we are doomed to repeat the same cycles again and again. A powerful exercise you can try right now is unfiltered writing. Take a pen and paper and answer these questions honestly. What experiences from my past still hurt? What emotions do I avoid feeling? Writing it down is an act of courage because healing doesn't begin when we get over it. It begins the moment we choose to face it head on. Why is it so hard to face our pain? Because our brain is wired to avoid suffering. We distract ourselves, we project our hurt onto others, we pretend to be okay. But the brutal truth is this: nothing changes if you don't face it. Most people aren't suffering because of what happened to them. They're suffering because they never processed how it made them feel. They are stuck in an unresolved emotional story, replaying it again and again in the background of their lives. The breakthrough comes when you finally allow yourself to see and accept your emotional wounds. You cannot heal what you haven't recognized. You cannot transform your suffering if you keep denying that it exists. Here comes a truth that will forever shift your understanding of healing. Pain doesn't disappear, it transforms. We've been told that time heals everything, but that is one of the biggest lies we've been told. Time doesn't heal. Time hides. The wound remains, still alive beneath the surface, waiting for the perfect moment to erupt again. So what's the alternative? You allow it to transform you. Pain is not the enemy. It's a messenger. It's showing you where your heart broke so it can be rebuilt stronger, wiser, and more whole than before. When you stop asking, "Why did this happen to me?" and instead ask, "What is this trying to teach me?" you begin the true path to healing. The goal isn't to never feel pain again. The goal is to learn from it, to grow through it, and to become someone new because of it. Jung saw that pain never truly disappears. It only changes form. If you don't take control of your emotional process, your pain will morph into resentment, fear, and destructive patterns. But if you learn how to use it, your pain can turn into wisdom, strength, and growth. The mistake is trying to forget, but that's impossible. You can't erase the past. You can only decide what you're going to turn it into. The key is not to eliminate the pain, but to decide what you're going to turn it into. Your emotional wound shows up in your relationships. It's not a scar from a story that already ended. It's still alive, breathing inside of you, showing up in every interaction, in every bond you form with others. Jung said that what we don't make conscious manifests in our lives as fate. In other words, what we don't heal, we repeat. And the worst part is we repeat it without realizing it. If you were abandoned as a child, chances are you now live in fear of abandonment. And that fear becomes a lens through which you see all your relationships. None of that is love. It's just fear disguised as need. It's your wound speaking without you even knowing it. Why does the same thing always happen to you? You don't attract what you want. You attract what you believe you deserve. If deep down you feel unworthy, you'll unconsciously surround yourself with people who reinforce that belief. This is not a coincidence. You were programmed in an emotional language that you're now repeating. Self-sabotage is what happens when you run from what you say you want. True healing begins when you stop blaming and take control. As long as you keep blaming others for your pain, you'll stay trapped in it. Blame is a double-edged sword. It can make you feel justified, but it also keeps you in a victim position. It's easier to repeat the story that life has been unfair than to take control and change it. Taking control doesn't mean denying the pain. It's about recognizing it and not allowing it to control you. The day you stop blaming and start taking control will be the day you truly begin to heal. Jung said, "There is no awakening of consciousness without pain, but many people want to heal without changing. They believe that healing means going back to the person they were before the pain, but that person no longer exists. True healing leaves scars, not because the pain remains, but because you become someone who could never have existed without that experience. Healing hurts not because you relive the past, but because it forces you to leave it behind. The final question is, what are you going to do with your story? Jung believed that true transformation doesn't come from comfort or ease. It begins the moment you take your deepest pain and choose to turn it into something with meaning. You are not a prisoner of your past. You are its author. You have a choice. You can keep running from your pain, blaming others, and repeating the same old story. Or you can stop, Breathe, turn inward, and decide that today is the day you take full ownership of your healing. You are not powerless. You never were. Today is the day you rise from the ruins. Today is the day you decide, I will no longer be a prisoner of my past. I will use it to shape the future I truly deserve. In the comments, write, I transform my pain into power. Let it be your commitment, your promise to yourself and to the world. And if you've made it this far, it's because something inside you is ready. You are ready for change, ready for a life of purpose, peace, and personal truth. This is just the beginning. Your life can change. Your healing is possible. We'll see you in the next video, and remember, you are not your thoughts. You are so much more.